Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there and welcome to New Life Live. It is a wonderful day here at New Life. It's never just another day at New Life, always something unusual and amazing happening. And I'm joined in the studio with Becky Brown.
Hello.
Becky is New Life. There is nothing that she hasn't done. I mean, and just such a valuable person. And then we have also studio today, Dr. Alice Benton. Hey, Alice, how are you?
Ladies and gents, hello.
Hello.
And sitting over there with her is Larry Sonnenberg. We're going to hear from him in just a moment. But I want to mention to you that tomorrow I'm on Focus on the Family, and I'm sharing about this, how to help a loved one with depression. And, of course, we have a book called Loving and Understanding and Loving a Person Who is Depressed. We also have that same kind of book for alcohol and drug addiction, bipolar disorder, attention deficit disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, you name it. We've got a book about understanding and loving someone with a problem. There are 8 of those books. And when you join Club New Life, we send you those books. But I hope you'll tune in to Focus on the Family because I just love their ministry. I love Jim Daly. And I hope that you'll benefit from that.
You know, those books have been so helpful to so many families.
Yeah.
Because, especially we're talking about Mental Health Awareness Month, you probably have somebody in your life that has struggled with mental illness and needs some mental health help, which is what we do.
Yeah, and during Mental Health Awareness Month, you might be aware that you're not mentally healthy. And so you could just, it's not your family member, but it's you, and you want to have some help. Now, yesterday, Larry, let's just talk about this right up front.
Okay.
Yesterday, well, you talked about first-time givers.
Right.
And something happened really exciting, so let's talk about that.
Well, I asked to see how many of our givers to this match were first time, and we have 47 people right now who have given for the first time to New Life towards this match. And that's amazing. I mean, it's wonderful.
It is.
And they're from all over the country. You know, I'll name a couple names. Brittany from Jackson, Missouri gave $20. Elise from Bedford, Pennsylvania gave $100. Linda from Boise, Idaho, $25. Kiona from Sacramento, $400. I mean, it goes on. There's name after name.
Well, let me just mention this, because those folks are going to experience something that you could experience too. If you've thought about giving and you never have, and you like the program or whatever, when you give, it becomes a different experience because you literally hear somebody get help, and then you feel different. You go, I was part of that person getting help because I support this ministry. Now, just trust me, it's a different experience. You go from being a spectator to being on the field with us. And New Life has been in existence because somebody allowed us to use financial resources that they had, and it all began 33 years ago, and we're still doing it. But we need your help now,
Steve,
more than ever.
Think about this.
Okay.
The first time you've done different things, it's very uncomfortable. First time you went on a roller coaster ride, first time you jumped off a diving board, first time maybe you kissed a girl or a man or a guy. Rarely do you regret it. You have that experience, it's uncomfortable at first, and then it's kind of invigorating. And giving is similar to that because you feel like you were just saying, you're part of something bigger than yourself, and you're helping. So, folks, we need your support. If you've never given, pull over right now and call us at 800-NEW-LIFE. Go online. However you want to give, you could text. And I don't have the text.
28950.
Thank you.
28950. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come right back with your phone calls at 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back with New Life Live right after this.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met.
connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, June 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Just want to mention this to you. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and supposedly about 1 in 5 or 20% of the folks struggle in the area of mental health, or classically what we would call a mental health issue. But think about this. Sexual addiction, lust, pornography, those things. I don't know exactly what the number is, but every statistic I've ever seen, it blows 1 in 5 out of the water. And so if that is in your family, call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Let us tell you about every man's battle. Or if you've been betrayed by someone with a sexual integrity problem, call us and join us for Restore. Don't know if we can restore the marriage or you can restore the marriage. That's not what it's all about. It's restoring you so that if there is any hope for restoration, there's a healthy person in the mix for sure, and you're making good decisions, nothing out of desperation. The phone number is 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But right now we want to go to our phones at 1-800-229-3000. I've got a call from Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I am going to be going this very evening. John from Fort Wayne, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Hey, I've often heard occasionally callers about getting an invitation to a loved one's same-sex ceremony or something. But my parents are elderly, and they're both involved in Freemasonry, and I'm uncomfortable, with their funerals having Masonic rites and activities taking place. Would you recommend that I share with them in advance that, I have qualms about and may not attend a funeral, or I've sometimes heard you say attend the ceremony but not the reception. Like, would you say go to the funeral but not the potluck afterwards?
Okay, this is your parents, right?
Yes.
And your dad is a Mason?
And my mom is in the Eastern Star.
Eastern Star. And has your father, just curious, ever made you believe that his faith was impacted in a negative way by him being a Mason?
Neither of them have been baptized as believers.
Okay.
So they are.
And you think that's the reason, because of Freemasonry? You think that's the reason?
Yeah, because they see themselves as being perfect and unneeding of a Savior.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm fully aware of Freemasonry origin and the concerns about it. I'm also aware that my father was probably the most committed Christian I've ever known. And he was a Mason and had no idea that it had any influence other than just an organization to do good for society. And it was like he didn't go to college, so it was like a fraternity to him. Literally, I can tell you, there was no evil in his mind associated with it. So what am I saying? I'm saying for some people, no matter what the source or the origin or whatever. It's just like being in an Elks Club or something that does good for society. Now, it's your parents and it's their funeral. Why wouldn't you want to go to their funeral and be there to talk about, and I would if I were you, talk about the good stuff about your parents, so it isn't all just about Freemasonry or something like that? Why wouldn't you want to approach it that way?
Yeah, I'm somewhat at a loss. I mean,
I wonder, can I ask you this, John? How many conversations have you had with your mom and dad about this issue over your lifetime?
Several. My mom had her 80th birthday 4 years ago, and I presented her books that I bought at the Christian bookstore, or at the church's bookstore, on, Freemasonry being a cult. And out of spite, she held her 80th birthday at their lodge, and I was in a quandary. Honor your father and mother, so that you may live long in the land that the Lord has given you. And I found myself uprooted a year ago from the D.C. area, and so certainly I'm questioning whether that promise is only to one if they're a Jew or not a Gentile, because I honored my mother and father, but yet I did not reap the promise from the Lord.
Yeah, I mean, seeing her reaction, I mean, this was more than just, hey, this is what we do. I mean, you guys have had confrontation over this, and I get it why you would not want to be part of a service that was so focused on the Freemasonry part. Who's going to plan that funeral when your parents die? Who's in charge of that?
Well, because of the friction between us, I'm sure it'll be my brother who is their, what do you call it?
Executor.
My executor, exactly. They've kind of frozen me out, and yeah.
So here's the question you asked, John, was, should I go? Sort of like, am I condoning this? I don't think that that's really the question. I think really the question is, when I have to say goodbye to my parents, and I doubt that they're going to die at the same time, so this is going to be, a couple of different events. How will I be, in those moments? Will I be able to be loving because they gave me life and honor them that way? But like Steve said, maybe you don't stay for the event, but don't make a big drama about it, because then that becomes more about you. And I don't think that that's what your goal is. I think Alice was going to say something.
John, I really appreciate your concern for your parents and their spiritual well-being, because I also have concerns, especially about the higher degrees of Freemasonry, because I think that's when some very serious oaths are taken that are not taken at the lower levels of participation. John, I don't think you need to answer the question whether or not I'm going to go to their funeral at this point, but rather I'd have you focus on the fact that your attempt to bring truth to your parents with that book was an off-putting attempt, and your mom became understandably defensive, even though your intentions were good. I think you need to look for ways to approach your parents with love and concern for them, because that gives the possibility that they might be able to receive and metabolize some of your concerns. A book about being a cult was not something your mom could digest. She needs to hear about your love and your care for her. She may or may not change her mind, because they're so deep into Freemasonry. But I think while they're alive, focus on loving them well and surrender the question to God of whether or not you should go to their funeral.
I think that's really good. And I would just say this, John, given the history, given all those kinds of things, you can go and you can not go. And you just, at the time when it happens, you need to decide, where is God leading me? And what I liked about part of this discussion with you was the concept of not making it about you, your statement, your attitude, whatever, because this really is a time for peace as they pass.
Right, right.
And John, you might even go back to say, I know when I gave you that book, it was offensive to you, and that put a wall between the two of us. I want to repair that damage, and I want to find out how giving you that book affected you and what I can do to reconcile with you.
I think in this culture right now, we're all looking for those divisions, and we need to be looking for the ways that we do connect with each other.
Yeah.
And that, I think, will lead to what you were saying, Alice, just that openness of, well, maybe I need to hear a different version.
Yeah. One of my favorite classes, if not my favorite, was the class I took in seminary on cults. And I don't know what the percentage is, but people that get out of cults, the percentage of them getting out of the cult because they read an article or a book is very low. Here's how they get out of the cult. They get into the cult. Of course, they're bombarded with love, acceptance, belonging, and all of this. And then, as time wears on, that's not there anymore. And they see a different agenda, and they're treated differently, and a question mark forms from their experience in their mind, and they ask somebody a question. But it really takes the reality setting in before they're open, because if all you feel is love, belonging, and acceptance, you're probably not going to turn away from that. And so timing really is everything. John, I'm going to send you a book called Toxic Faith, and it's going to really affirm all the things that you believe about Jesus and the true faith and healthy churches, and I'm excited for you to get that. 1-800-229-3000. That's our number here. Let's talk with Deborah, Williamsburg, Virginia. I love that place. WXTR is the station. How you doing, Deborah?
Oh, you don't want to know, do you? Really? No.
I really do want to know how you're doing, and if it's really bad, we're going to try to help you with it.
Okay. Yes, I'll try to not be a comic here.
Okay.
My brother, I'm 74. He's 69. I come from an alcoholic background. He has serious health issues, and then serious health issues on top of that. On the second serious health issues, his 37-year-old son came to stay with him, and that's when the second go-around hits. And so the son took him in, took him into the hospital, took him into the rehab, da-da-da. Now the son has basically moved into my brother's house. He is controlling and manipulating and doing indescribable abuse. And
can you give me an example of the abuse? Give us one example of that. What kind of abuse are you talking about?
All right. Weston has deep problems. He's a druggie, alky, name it, whatever. Okay, stays up all night, brings in friends, have a party. David wants to sleep. Okay, he goes into his room, has locked the door. Okay, well, this is on a night when nobody's there. Weston is pretty calm when his girlfriend is staying overnight there.
Okay.
But no girlfriend. It's late. Well, Weston's pounding on the door. You get out of here. You get in here. And then he kicks the door so much, wrecks the door handle.
Sorry.
Comes storming into the bedroom. Yeah.
Okay. Now we get the picture, Deborah. Can you ask us a question that we could help you with? What is your question about this really rough situation?
Alrighty. out of a family of 8 kids, there's 4 of us left. There are a brother and his sisters in that town area.
Okay. So ask me a question that we can look at during the break. What's your question?
I want to get in there. I want to jump on the next plane and go save my brother.
Mm-hmm.
We do have legal things in motion.
Yeah.
I'm fearful.
Do you have a question for us, though, that we could answer for you?
Yeah, okay. Tell me, Deborah, let go and let God, and, yeah. So that's my question. Tell me what to do.
Okay. All right. We're going to do that right after this. We'll get to some options that maybe you could consider right after this. 1-800-229-3000, New Life Live. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. A lot of people are in, you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, August 14th. Steve Arterburn and Chris Williams will present information on the power of our emotions, procrastination, guilt and shame, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or register online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. We're talking with Deborah, and I want to start with you, Alice, and to give her some guidance here, because her question is what to do in this kind of situation where the abusive nephew is running the show, and it's not a pretty show whatsoever. What do you think?
Deborah, I hear the pain in your voice about your brother and your desire to rush in and save him. So I respect that you care about him that much. Tell us about his mental capacity, his clarity of mind, and whether or not he wants help from you regarding his son.
Sure, I'll say that hesitantly, in that David is probably can be a victim kind of a person.
Can you just say yes or no to what that question is?
I gotcha. What's his mental state? Does he want me there? Sure. Yes, he does. Sure.
Okay.
Has he asked you to come and help him?
I think he has hinted.
Deborah, that is a big assumption to make. And so, although
I'll
go ahead.
give you an example.
Okay.
In that he finally got freed up from the cancer doctor, and wanted to come see me just a month ago for a week or whatever, and it would take tremendous work on his part to get here. But I mean, he was so wanting to get out and get relief.
Sounds like to me
so
that he would welcome a visit if he's wanting to come to you, and that would be very difficult. Seems like he'd welcome you there, and then you'd have a really good sense of what's
the hard
going
part.
on.
So, Deborah, the hard part is when you have a family member who has a lot of crises going on. He's got his health issues. He's got a son that is struggling or overcome with addiction, and he's brought it home. And you're feeling helpless many miles away. And I think the first step, to have a conversation with your other siblings about what are we going to do going forward.
Yeah.
If he's willing to make the trip, that would be, fine. Or if you guys want to go there. But I just don't think just the hinting at him wanting help or, because if he is playing a victim, a lot of times you're going to get into the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask for Adult Protective Services to do a well check. If the nephew is breaking the law, the law can be involved in that way. He would have some protection, but it's very complicated, and it would be very helpful for you to have some support through a counselor, but also have your family get together on what are we going to do to help David.
Okay. I want to have the final word here. I rarely get to, but I'm going to. So here's what I suggest, Deborah. Like Becky just said, you need to be in counseling with somebody because this is painful, you're grieving, and this person, as a counselor, could give you some ongoing direction. So that's one thing. I really want you to hang on and see if we could find a counselor for you. Second thing is you do need to communicate with your siblings. Get their perspective. Then the third thing is I would call him and say, how would you like it if I came? And if he says, I'd love for you to come, and you can, I would go. And I would try a positive approach with the nephew first. Okay, so since I've been here, I've noticed some things, and I'm wondering how you feel about it. If I could help you change some things. I'm sure you're frustrated. Caregivers get frustrated, all that kind of stuff. But really try to take a positive approach. And then, if that does no good and you have to leave, boy, I tell you, I would be calling Adult Protective Services, and I would say, this is a bad situation. I was there. I stayed there. I saw it. I talked to the caregiver, and it does not look good. And then they can take it from there. All right, I'm glad that you called. I'm going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back, and I hope that that's going to help you with all of this. Let's go to Cynthia, Annapolis, Maryland, great WAVA station. Cynthia, you're on. How are you?
Hi, how are you guys? I love the show.
Thank you. How could we help you?
Well, I just had a comment, and I don't know if this is, I'm hoping to help a lot of people with the comment because the caller that called in about the Freemasonry, I definitely agree with him. I mean, and what you guys are saying as far as honoring the mother and father by, saying good things. But he is absolutely right when he is to be concerned about the spiritual aspect of it, because having been involved with, a lot, not myself personally, but family members who were involved, even throughout the history of slavery, there were slaves who were involved in Freemasonry, and because they were members of that, they were treated a little bit differently. But it didn't mean that those people, that some of the members didn't own slaves or didn't practice demonic activity. And a lot of well-meaning things, fraternities, sororities. I mean, I'm a former Catholic, and there were Catholics who owned slaves. So, and condone child abuse. So when you're talking about mental health, I think we have to consider opening doors and windows to demonic activity. So, and that's all. I just wanted to encourage him and encourage people to be aware that we are triune beings. We're spiritual, physical, mental, and so to be careful with that. And Charles Kraft is a good person. I think that he has a lot of books out about that as far as mental health and how demonic forces attach themselves to your woundedness.
Cynthia, got to go to a break. Thanks for your phone call. We'll be back after this.
of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Attention Deficit Disorder and Understanding and Loving a Person with Sexual Addiction. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here. I'll mention again, I'm on Focus on the Family tomorrow. I hope you'll tune into that, talking about how to help someone who is depressed. And a gift of any amount, we send you Dr. Dave Stoops' book, You Are What You Think. It's a wonderful, amazing book, and millions of people have benefited from it. When I was speaking at the memorial service, the graveside service, I wanted to be sure that his grandkids knew this guy was amazing, you know, and he was so humble. He'd say, yeah, well, here, yeah, go ahead and have this book, take it home, whatever. And I just don't think they ever, until that service, realized he was a giant in the area of Christian publishing and writing and Bibles and changing people's lives. And boy, was he ever a giant in the life of New Life. Speaking of giants, we have Larry Sonnenberg in the studio. And Larry, let's talk about our matching gift again.
Okay, yes. We have a matching gift. It was $459,000, and we've got about $75,000 of that taken care of. So $380,000 plus to go. We need to get it done by the end of May. I want to read you a couple testimonies to help you feel the need for why this ministry is needed so badly to so many people. Your ministry keeps me from walking around with a basket full of tears, from huddling in my bed in a fetal position, from lashing out at my kids with anger. Your ministry is literally my lifeline right now in the pain and suffering, a lifeline to God's Word, a lifeline to God. Your job is literally keeping people sane and functional during extreme hardship and crisis and sadness and loss. Your job is saving people's lives. New Life is saving people's lives. Maybe not like a medical doctor, but spiritual and mental. You are helping me save my life from where I could go to where I need to go.
I love that.
I love that too. And I want to read another one that brings up this gift. I was so excited to hear about your donation challenge on the show today. I'm one of those people that Larry was talking about when he said, are you one of those folks who keep saying, I should donate? That's me. I've been wanting to give for a while now, and his words, along with the matching challenge, got me moving. I've been listening to you on the radio since the Minter Meyer days. I haven't donated for a while, so I'm happy to do it now. So, folks, we need you to respond like that. I know you've been thinking about it, so let's do it.
We've never had this big of a gift to be matched
in this short a time.
And so if you have thought about giving, this would be the time to just pick up the phone and do it, please.
And even if you have not thought about giving, let's think about it. You were talking about the book that Dave, that great book of You Are What You Think.
Yeah.
Some of us just go along life and we're oblivious to the fact that we've been given so much. And you've been listening to the program every day. You've gotten all kinds of insight, and you have not called or you have not donated. And this is a perfect time, because anything that you give is going to be doubled. And it makes a difference in the lives of so many people. Huge difference.
And we're very grateful for how generous you always have been with us. Your generosity floors me.
And if it doesn't create a different experience for you, you never have to give again. But I'm telling you, when you give, it's going to create a different kind of experience when you hear people getting help. The phone number, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, that's the number to call. But it's easy. You can just text MATCH to 28950. 28950. MATCH to 28950. Thank you in advance for that. Thank you, Larry, for sharing this with us. Anything you want to say as you leave the table?
Last thing is, I'm confident God will come through and this match will be met. But the way God works is through people, through you. So we're confident that you'll come through and connect with us and make a gift. First-time gift, second-time gift, you give it every month, however. So thank you for giving. We really appreciate it.
Amen. And we'll send you that book by Dave Stoop if you give. Larry from Knoxville, Tennessee, WRJZ is the station. Hi, how are you today?
Thank you for taking my call, Steve. I'm a long-time listener and a fairly regular donator to your ministry.
Thank you, sir.
I am 76 years old. I have two sons, 50 and 48.
Okay.
I was divorced after 21 years of marriage. I have always been a believer since saved at 12 and began getting closer to God at age 40. I have tried to establish a relationship with my sons for the last 35 years unsuccessfully. I was remarried 21 years ago to a wonderful Christian woman who is tired, very tired, of me throwing her under the bus when I get with my kids. Yesterday, you had a lady that called who had been the product of a rape, and she wanted to know how to get over her grief, and it just dumbstruck me that that's my problem. I can't get over the grief of having lost my relationship with my children, who I still have a speaking relationship with, but it's not close.
Okay. So what is the main source of separation between you and them? Is it the person you married? Is it the mom you divorced? Words between you? What is the big deal that would cause them not to want you to be part of their lives, and what is that?
Well, two things. First of all, I asked my son recently, what was it about your growing up with me that really put you off? And he said, Dad, I don't want to talk about it. But also, my ex-wife has really kind of turned them against me when they were toward the end of our marriage. There was never any physical abuse or anything like that, but I was an angry man and worked hard and was away a lot.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Becky first and then Alice to give you some ideas. I don't know if this can be repaired, but we want to give you some ideas that would give you the most hope to make some restoration here in these final years. Becky?
It's interesting to me, Larry, that the woman's call yesterday prompted that, the grief. And I think that the answer is twofold. I think you do have to grieve what was lost. That's separate from your relationship with your kids. You need to establish a new relationship with them. If you're going back trying to fix the past, you're wasting precious time. And in the 12 steps, we talk about making amends and settling the offenses that we have, if in any way that we can. and to begin to know your sons in this day and age, as opposed to what you may keep wanting to pull them back. So the reason why I'm thinking that is because the son's response of, Dad, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to talk about this. You're losing out on the opportunity to know him today, to be present with him, and to have that short account. And there's all kinds of things that can be worked on through a counselor and that type of thing. But I think, I would encourage you to do grief work we've got our 12-step workbook on grief, but to look for a new way to have a connection with them as opposed to repairing the old.
All right, Alice, what are you thinking here that might be helpful?
Larry, I wondered what it meant that you throw your current wife, I think, under the bus when you're with your kids. And I wonder if that means you still have some of your old angry tendencies because of which your children don't feel safe enough to give an honest answer to that very good question you humbly asked, what was it? And I wonder if you have ever led with the humble, calm confession that you gave us. I was an angry man, I worked too hard, and I was away too much. So whether or not your children will talk about it, acknowledging that to them will likely be healing for both you and them.
What do you think?
Well, I have tried. Actually, last weekend, my wife and I were nearby in the state and watched my grandson play soccer. And we had dinner with them the night before, and that was fine. But then after the game, they went. But the problem was we were scheduled to have lunch with some of my wife's friends and my new acquaintances with them. And at the last minute, I invited my daughter-in-law, who was there at the soccer field, but my grandson and my son had already left to go get the car. And my wife felt deeply offended when we already had a luncheon set up with these other people that I would invite my son and daughter and and daughter-in-law and grandson to that luncheon.
Okay, Larry?
And I do that.
Yeah.
Stupid thing. Yes, sir.
Okay, you and I have a couple of things in common. I want to talk to you after this break, and I hope it's going to help you here. But thanks for sharing all these things. We'll be back right after this with more New Life Live. If you need help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And don't forget, every day, 5 o'clock Eastern Time, going deeper. And we're really looking at this Mental Health Awareness Month tonight.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., July 23rd to the 25th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of the problem quickly.
Many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and I've got right next to me Becky Brown, and then in our other studio, Dr. Alice Benton. And if there's anything we can help you with, we want to. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Larry, are you still there?
He is not.
Yes,
Larry
sir.
is not there. I'm talking about Larry from Knoxville.
No, I'm here.
Okay. So, Larry,
I'm here.
Larry, I think
Yes, sir.
people that are around me on a day-to-day basis might say that I can be a bit impulsive. And so that's why I said I think you and I have a couple of things in common. And impulsivity can be a big advantage when you're by yourself. But when you're in relationship, it can really hurt. So here's what I think. I do think you need to get a male counselor. Have you ever gotten counseling before?
My wife and I have been to 2 counselors, and I'm currently going to a counselor.
By yourself or with her?
By myself, she won't go.
Okay. I've got something else to suggest for you, for the two of you. But what I would say to that counselor that you're going to, by the way, is this a Christian counselor? Is it part of a church? What kind of counselor is that?
He is a Christian counselor, yes.
And is he lay counselor, or does he have a degree?
No, he has a master's degree in counseling.
All right, great. Okay, so I would say to him, I was told by a guy that is kind of like me that I need some help, and specifically in a couple of areas. Number 1 is impulsivity. Number 2 is I need some help in looking at my attitude toward women. Because I'm not being considerate of my daughter-in-law when I ask somebody to this event. I'm not being considerate of my wife. My wife is upset. And so I really need to look at how do I change the way I treat and respect women based on a change of heart down deep inside. And then as I was sharing some of this at the break, Becky had some great insight, Larry, where he said, you are able to go see a grandchild's soccer game, and there are so many grandparents that are weeping and aching over not being able to do that. And so her point was, enjoy the good stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, if you just loved being there at that soccer game and promised yourself you would not betray yourself by some kind of impulsive mood that doesn't take anybody into consideration but you, and have you feel how you feel, then that might really be a very, very successful visit. Now, one other thing I want to mention to you, and it's this. A lot of stuff becomes about us and not about them. And people love dads and granddads that make it about them and not the granddad. And so I'm just going to ask you to evaluate every interaction. Is this about me? Is this about my feelings, my hurt? Because I'm going to tell you something. If I was your son, I would be tempted to say, well, of course you feel bad. Mm-hmm. And now you want me to do something to make you feel good. Well, I'm not going to do that. But if we just get off of that, and it's all about your son, what you can do for your son, connecting with your son, helping your son, understanding your son. If it's all about him, you have such a greater chance of having a really strong relationship with him after 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. That's the best I can do. Alice or Becky, anything you want to add before we go?
Larry, I'm worried that you called about the wrong relationship. I think that your marriage is on the rocks, but you're calling about your sons, and that relationship needs focus as well. But I want you to prayerfully consider why you didn't call about your marriage when your wife isn't willing to go to therapy with you. So take what Steve has told you, take it very urgently, and address it with that counselor you're already seeing.
And it's so fascinating because a lot of times we hear impulsive people like you really do. You have a desire to be better, to do differently. But until you get that impulse thing under control and really the awareness of other people, it's very hard to do. But I'm really glad you called. I'm going to send you Take Your Life Back and Healing is a Choice. I think both of them will help you. Now, I'm almost out of time, but I am going to go over here to Scott real quick. Scott from St. Louis, Maryland, St. Louis, Missouri, Sirius XM. Scott, don't have a lot of time because I took it up mispronouncing everything, but how could we help you today?
I'm looking for advice on how to be a more open, caring, selfless person. I've been married for almost 30 years, 6 kids, and I'm very distant and closed off and just don't seem to connect with these people as well as I should be.
Scott, there is a question you can take to your family today, and it is that acknowledgement. I'm realizing I'm pretty selfish. And I wonder how that selfishness of mine has been affecting you. And then you listen quietly and you take notes as to how that has affected your family.
My question, Scott, would be, what have you done to this point to try and discover why that's happening?
Not a whole lot.
Okay,
Are you mean like in terms of seeking counseling or talking to someone?
Well, one of the reasons why I asked that is because Steve talks about this, and he said something yesterday that's still blowing my mind. And he talked about the fact that what we tend to do is we think that we're going to get this perfect. And failure's part of the plan. It started with Adam and Eve. And we need a savior, we need a process, we need to continue to do the work. So I'm glad that you called with the tip of the iceberg. But you've got some mining to do, and it can be helpful to ask your family, but the self-recognition, that self-awareness is that first step. And there's all kinds of processes, everything from just going into counseling. We talk about that all the time, or getting into groups. And, just doing a self-discovery of what is driving my disconnection.
So I would just caution you, because sometimes we have this great moment of insight and we want something more, deeper, richer. And then we ask people to help us or make us aware, like Becky's saying to do with the family. First thing they say, and we start to defend ourselves, And so you really just want to do everything you can to go into a conversation. And maybe you even have to, if you've been selfish, you have to repeat this to yourself, this mantra. Care about this person. Care about this person. Listen and care, because the temptation is just to flip right back and focus on yourself. Really glad that you called, and I hope something that we've said will be helpful to you. And let me send you a copy of Dave Stoops' book, You Are What You Think, because you're wanting to think differently. That's the same book that I'll give anybody, a gift of any amount, and that gift of any amount will be matched. It'll be doubled. And boy, do we ever need you to help us now. If you've ever thought about giving, I'm just going to ask you to pick up that phone. And I really do believe you're going to love the fact that you did. It will make listening to this program a different experience for you. You never have to give again, if you didn't like it, if it didn't produce the kind of feelings of fulfillment that it gives to all of us who give. 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you can help us. And then that other number, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, if we could help you. That's the one to call. Either of those will work. 1-800-NEW-LIFE or 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You call us, we'll be there. Got folks waiting for that phone call. See you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.